Travers is going to try and put this all into perspective and give us a timeline on all of this. The latest coming from a report that Donald Trump helped write the statement by Donald Trump Jr. Good morning, Karen Travers.
Good morning. Sources tell ABC that the president did, in fact, craft that statement that was released by Donald Trump Jr. In response to this New York Times story about that meeting with a Russian lawyer at Trump Tower. We are told that the president dictated it from Air Force One on the way back from the G20 summit in Germany. Now, this is important because 2 days later, the president's lawyer said the president was not involved in the drafting of the statement. He did not issue the statement. He was not a part of this. He said, I want to be clear the president was not involved, saying it came from Donald Trump Jr. The White House yesterday says the president was involved, and he weighed in as any father would based on the limited information that he had. So, a lot of questions here of did the president's lawyer not know he was involved? Was the president's lawyer deliberately trying to mislead and keep the president out of this? No fingerprints on this statement. I mean, the fact that we're still talking about this meeting that the White House says it was nothing is remarkable, and it all stems from the fact that that first statement said it was about adoptions and not about the campaign.
And I think, draw it one more step, we learned later, sort of connecting all the dots, that he had that second meeting with Putin, and when the New York Times asked what were you talking about, he said adoption, and that happened right before he wrote the letter getting Donald Trump Jr. out of the deal.
Yep, that was the night before when he was at that dinner at the G20 summit, and then the next day they are flying back and crafting this statement. The Washington Post had incredible details that they knew that the New York Times was looking into this for some time. The president has said he learned about that meeting just days before the New York Times story broke, so sometime around that trip to Germany. But the Post reporting is that there were people who were really pushing in the inner circle for the statement to be more truthful, more forthcoming, and get it all out there because they knew these emails existed where Donald Trump Jr. was promised dirt on Hillary Clinton, and he responded, I love it.
Yeah, it's a two-prong attack here, Karen Travers, and where are we? One's PR, right? The lawyer was caught in a lie. Donald Trump was out helping his son, but legally and Robert Mueller and those FBI investigations, what does that mean for all this?
So, I think everybody was quick to make the point that, it's not illegal to give a misleading statement to the press. So, it was about A. Well, turned out it was about A, B, and C. That's not the trouble there. But this would certainly raise questions for Robert Mueller and his team of why is the president trying to, potentially mislead? Why were they trying to say it was only about adoption? And, I think another question that certainly is still percolating, and Donald Trump Jr. has said this was it, no other meetings. But the reason this meeting came out is because Jared Kushner's legal team found the emails because he was on that email chain as part of their, going through all of the information that they had for the government that they could turn over and for his own security clearance information. That then came out because of Jared Kushner's involvement. Certainly questions of, was there anything else Donald Trump Jr. was involved with that we just don't know about because he doesn't have a security clearance? He hasn't had to file any paperwork on who he met with and when.
Yeah, but it does seem somewhat. Donald Trump Jr. has his own lawyers in all of this, and Donald Trump was writing this statement. You wonder where Donald Trump Jr.'s lawyers in because they might have different points of view because they might have two different, right? Those lawyers serve two different masters.
Yeah, and I think that's an important thing to keep in mind as these stories will inevitably keep breaking over the next couple of weeks and months or however long, is that everybody has a self-interest here, and everybody's lawyers have self-interest in their clients, and statements and responses and how candid and not candid to be are driven by those motivations. So as you're reading things, you can kind of start thinking, okay, why is this person saying this? And why is that person not saying that? You can kind of start putting together the puzzle pieces in your head.
Quickly, while we still have you, new chief of staff and no tweets, no big news over the last 48, 72 hours.
That you just jinxed that, right? I just immediately went to my computer screen and hit refresh because I'm like, well, that's going to happen. Yeah, I mean, whether or not this is a credit to John Kelly, we don't know. There certainly have been some tweets, but not like the flood of tweets over the weekend, not some of the personal attacks that we've seen on Republican lawmakers, things like that. We'll see how long this lasts.
There it is. Karen Travers reading the tea leaves for us from the White House. Good morning, and thanks for checking in, Karen.
Have a great day.
6:56.